Hello, welcome to episode 27 of Press YYZ. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at Press YYZ, and we're live every Wednesday in front of a digital audience at 8 p.m., at twitch.tv/Press YYZ. I'm your host today, Nathan McInerney, and today I'm joined by AJ Frazier. How are you doing, AJ?
L is real.
L is real. Okay.
L is real.
Interesting. Alex Ballant, the Halo Kid.
I'm back. You guys said I was playing Kingdom Hearts. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
We did?
Hello, everybody.
Cozy, Alex Kozina. Cozy, how are you doing?
The ultimate. I'm doing well.
All right. And the originator of the word girth, Mitch George.
I hate that so much. And ketchup belongs on mac and cheese.
It doesn't. I'm sure that's coming up later, but come on.
No, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Are we going to leave it until later, or are we going to talk about this
No,
over
we
now?
got to talk about this right now.
Yeah, let's get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Ketchup belongs on mac and cheese when it comes out of a box. If you're eating boxed mac and cheese, you have to put something on it, and that something is ketchup.
Ketchup belongs on all sorts of things. Ketchup does not belong on mac and cheese.
Ketchup doesn't belong on anything because it's terrible.
You're terrible.
It belongs on mac and cheese. It belongs on, what else do I put ketchup on?
Alex, for us to win this fight, we need to appear moderate, all right? We need to say ketchup belongs on certain things, but not mac and cheese.
Listen,
if we are hardliners and say that ketchup doesn't belong on anything, nobody's going to take our side.
That's fair. Ketchup does belong on hot dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
You say you want to be moderate, but you put the least appetizing mac and cheese up on the screen right now.
It looks like
that
cafeteria.
It's like Easy Mac. You put it in the microwave. What is that? That's not craft dinner.
Okay.
Cozy, just pull up the tweet. For those who don't know, we got into a heated conversation today on Twitter.
How did this start?
That's a good
What
question.
made you think in your disturbed brain that you needed to put this out in the world?
Today, Wednesday, the 29th of July, I was watching Kinda NYC live react to the Avengers Warzone war table thing that they did that we're going to talk about in a bit. Okay? I made mac and cheese for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Like a normal, sane person. I put ketchup
totally.
all over that mac and cheese.
Okay, no, you lost me.
No, monster.
So I asked their chat if I should put ketchup, or who puts ketchup on their mac and cheese. They were split 50-50. So I put it on Twitter, and Twitter said I'm wrong, and
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you.
The numbers can lie because you can have a majority of people be wrong. Look at what
It was really a landslide. Can we agree? My sister put soy sauce on her craft dinner. Can we agree that is wrong?
That's weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
I don't know if she's going to appreciate me bringing that up. Sorry, Leela. And just to point out, she is a Leafs fan. So I think that's something that Leafs fans may do. Yeah, there could be correlation there.
I know a number of Leafs fans who are really good people who also put fucking ketchup on their fucking mac and cheese.
Why didn't they vote in your Twitter poll, though?
They don't really use Twitter, okay?
They
My
don't
family doesn't
exist.
understand the internet.
You have friends that do this. Yes, we all believe you.
I thought I did.
Mac and cheese is talked about. Let's move on.
Hey, Craft Dinner replied to me on Twitter saying you put whatever you want on your mac and cheese.
Yeah, that honestly, that was the most mind-blowing part where
Doesn't
Senpai noticed you there.
Yeah.
What is going on at the Craft Dinner Factory these days? Like, is there like a pigeon and a loose fox that's managing the Twitter account?
No, I have a good social media manager that knows that I'm right and I'm being wronged by my followers on Twitter.
Acceptance
I
is
think
key.
they're just trying to make it feel good.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to say, no, you can't put it on there because they may lose a customer. That's like the most placating answer, just to be like, sure, you do you.
That was actually just a mass reply that they sent out to a bunch of random tweets of people saying, oh man, can I put hot dogs on mac and cheese? And they're like, just, yeah, send.
Yeah, because everyone's tweeting Craft Dinner about hot dogs in their mac and cheese. No, that was unique, okay? And
hot dogs in your mac and cheese is fine.
Hot dogs is okay. Bacon is better. Have you at least tried ketchup in your mac and cheese?
Yes, it's disgusting.
You're disgusting.
Here's the thing: is ketchup is just tomato syrup, and it just sucks. Like, why? I don't need this
tomato and
oversaturated-
vinegar, actually.
Yeah, but it's got a consistency of syrup. It's just awful.
No,
Like you literally
It's got
you
a
could just
consistency of a condiment. Thank you.
I mean, it's definitely not the best of the condiments. We can agree on that.
Okay, Cozy, what's your favorite condiment? And if it's not gravy, I'm going to disregard whatever you say.
I mean, probably mayonnaise.
Frank's Red Hot.
Have you tried mayo chup?
Frank's Red Hot is good.
Mayo
I've not tried mayo chup.
They also have mayo racha.
You know
which is
what?
pretty good.
Honestly, it actually might be like Frank's Red Hot or one of those hot sauces. You can't like enjoy it in the same way that you enjoy mayonnaise because of the hotness of it. But yeah, it actually might be that.
I put Red Hot on everything, literally, like scrambled eggs and. Yeah, I put that shit on everything. Like anytime I can put it on eggs, it's on eggs. On chicken fingers, it's on chicken fingers.
Condiment? Like I cook with hot sauce. I don't use it as a condiment.
Well, I've used it as a condiment.
Yeah, it depends on how you use it, I guess. Like how you implement it.
If you put it on eggs when you're about to eat scrambled eggs to make them taste good.
You know what else is great on your scrambled eggs? Goddamn ketchup.
Eggs taste good on their own, though. Like when
Nah, eggs are gross. Eggs are
You just
gross.
eat salt and pepper, and you're fine.
Eggs
Like,
are gross, and they got that weird boogery texture. No, thank you.
No, you pan fry them, you scramble them, you throw some salt, pepper, ketchup in there, and you're good to go.
I can
Maybe a little
eat eggs
pasta,
with ketchup.
ruin the
but
equation.
that's it.
Okay. I feel like we've talked about this for 8 minutes almost.
Ketchup
So-
belongs in mac and cheese.
Pineapple
Yeah.
belongs on pizza.
Oh
I
God.
will agree
not
to that
again.
if you agree to my ketchup and mac and cheese.
I
thing.
agree to ketchup on craft dinner. Absolutely.
But the real question is, why would you eat craft dinner though? That's also not
Okay.
very good.
It wasn't craft dinner. It was Annie's, which is like
So what we're finding out right now is you are a liar.
You exploited the
No,
craft
I did not.
brand
Oh,
for
I
personal
absolutely-
gain, and it
Mr.
backfired.
Mr. Kraft himself is very ashamed of you right now.
All right. All right. I get up and leave, but I'm not wearing pants and I don't want to get us banned from Twitch. So
Anyway,
Rant over.
all right. We'll move on here because people have actually played video games this week, is my understanding.
Yeah.
We
Some of
had a
us.
big Halo announcement last week for Halo. What was it called? Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite. That's it.
unfinished.
Unfinished.
Yep.
So, but I see some people getting ready for it have been playing the Halo Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
So, why don't you guys tell me about that?
Go ahead.
yeah.
I've talked
You know what?
about
Okay.
it way more than
I'll go.
you.
I'll go
so-
first. Yeah, I'll go
Yeah,
first
let
because I
AJ go
wasn't on
first.
the I wasn't on the recap with MC Fixer that you guys did on the weekend. Speaking of Halo, just really quick, I think it looks good. I am also a Halo 4 and 5 apologist. It's not perfect. I think they're
All
fun
right,
games.
Not going to
They're-
associate myself with that anymore.
It's a yeah, it's a whole thing. I like sprint. Aim down sights was not implemented well. Yep. Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, no worries. Don't worry, we're
But
fine.
okay, so yeah, Halo Infinite. Yeah, it didn't look good, but it looked like Halo to me, and like that seems to be from everything I'm hearing what they're going with is specifically they having just recently booted up Master Chief Collection again. Halo 1, it's specifically they're going for that after you get off the ship and you crash land on the Halo, that level mixed with a little bit of Silent Cartographer, that seemed to be like the basis of that demo. So
The thing is, like, they're not to go too far into Infinite because we've already done a podcast about it that you can find on podcast services, but it really feels like they are pulling from all the Halo games in some respect. Like what you were saying, they're really trying to take the openness, the feeling of openness that you got in Halo Combat Evolved when you stepped off of the Halo ring and the openness to the levels, but actually doing it for real. In Halo, they're trying to implement the over-the-top villainous type stuff from Halo 2 and the sandbox elements of Halo 3. And I am all for it. Like, I think I think there's a lot of technical problems that need to be addressed, but I think on a base game level, it looks fun.
the best way that I've heard it described is it doesn't look like if you have just played Halo recently, it doesn't look like they're trying to make it that Halo again. It looks like what they're trying to do is make a new Halo based off your 20-year nostalgia goggles of the original Halo. So, in my opinion, I think it looks like Halo. I think it looks good, and I think it will be a very good time.
I wasn't on the podcast, so I just want to ask Alex, because I thought about this afterwards. How do you feel about the ray tracing pack coming later?
I don't like that. I think one of the biggest problems that the game is currently facing is the lighting of the game. The lighting looks flat. And I think there's I brought this up on the podcast we did with MC Fixer.
Yeah.
But there's a really, really good video by Digital Foundry that they released a couple days after the demo came out. And he goes into detail about how the lighting engine seems to be working. And it's kind of strange that they decided their first look at this game is in a valley where the shadows just kind of overtake everything and makes it have that flat look. Like, because there are moments in the demo where you can see like things having very high detail and it actually is looking really good. And it's because of the way the lighting is hitting all of these models, because these are really high quality models. It just, the game's engine and the day-night cycle isn't serving it. So I think to not have ray tracing be available day one, I genuinely think that is a very drastic mistake. And it just seems like, depending on how long it takes to be implemented after launch, I think will be more to its detriment than anything else.
Would you be in favor of them pushing it back to get the ray tracing patch out, or would you want it before the ray tracing patch?
See, that's really hard, because you really do want it with your console, because this is they've really marketed the Series X around Halo, and so to not have it would also be a mistake. So in some ways, I think there's kind of no winning this.
Do you think they could spin it as, oh, this is actually the Xbox One version you're playing, and you'll get updated to the Series X version at a later date?
See, that also feels
via smart delivery.
See, that could have worked if they didn't market the game from the get-go as this is a Series X. This is going to be the Series X launch title. Like, if it was just like this is coming at the same time, maybe you could have done that Uno reverse card spin to it. But like, I just think I think there was a lot of marketing pushing this as a next gen Halo when it really isn't that. It is like, it looks, my biggest thing is like, I've heard people be like, oh, it just looks like more Halo. And that's what's exciting, because Halo 4 and 5 didn't look like Halo to me. So there's no real winning this for 343, but I also think that they haven't made a bad game. I hate Halo 4 and 5, but they're not bad games. And so
they're not bad games. They're not very good Halo. That's what I would say.
That's exactly it.
Which is why I'm an apologist, because I still have fun with the game.
Yeah.
But what are good Halos are the Halos in the Master Chief Collection. And I'll do this very quickly, because I obviously have been playing
mac and cheese, and now we've talked about Halo for a good 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, like,
we're going to move on Halo quickly.
Yeah. I've been playing it nonstop since Halo 3 came out. One of the really cool things about it is one of my friends from grade 5, who I used to play Halo with, messaged me out of the blue asking if I wanted to play it again. So Halo brings people together.
All right.
I just want to quickly mention that, as Alex mentioned earlier, we recorded a reaction to the Xbox showcase with MC Fixer. As mentioned, you can find it on podcast services and, of course, here in our archive on our Twitch channel. So please go check that out if you were disappointed by how little we talked about Halo today.
All right. Thanks for that intermission or injection there, Cozy, because I didn't think about that because I wasn't on it. But I hope you guys had a good time with MC Fixer. I listened to the podcast today and it was really good. So
he was a phenomenal guest.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to have him back. So we talked about monsters who like catch up on their craft dinner earlier. So, where'd Alex go?
He disappeared. Okay, there he is.
Alex, where'd you go?
I spilled Diet Coke all over my keyboard. Professional podcaster.
Yeah.
All right.
So we talked about monsters who like catch up on their macaroni earlier. So let's do a little more talking about monsters now. Alex, you've been talking about listening to Taylor Swift. Tell me about her.
Fuck.
Wait, what?
You just Damn.
That's not
Okay,
cool.
you got me good. All right. So after the Halo reveal, and I was on Cloud9, Taylor Swift announced on Twitter that she was releasing that night at 12. Well, the next day at 12 a.m. that she was releasing her new album, Folklore, which I wasn't expecting to get a new Taylor Swift. I'm okay. I haven't really gotten to talk about it, but I'm a very unapologetic. I'm an unapologetic Taylor Swift fan. I'm a hardcore Swiftie, big fan. I don't know what is being shown on.
We're showing
the game
Folklore.
Folklore for the
Okay.
PS3, a
Just
classic.
ignore it. Remember, we're also an audio show. Not everything is for Twitch.
Right. But yeah, so I wasn't expecting to get a new album this year because usually she takes about 2 years to make an album because she makes one and then goes on tour and then makes the next one, but because of probably the COVID situation, she's had a lot of time to make a new album. And it's great. I love it. It's very introspective compared like Lover was very much a celebration of what made Taylor Swift great, where Folklore is more introspective, what Retribution was trying to do, but failed at miserably. And I think Folklore does it way better. I think it's really good. There's not a song on the entire album that I don't like, and usually there's at least one. So that's my review.
You really call yourself
Okay,
Swiftie?
Alex,
Oh, hell yeah.
a quick question about it. How many ex-boyfriends were harmed in the making of this album?
See, she's kind of moved on from that a little bit.
Okay.
That's the thing is like that was like a hardcore like from her debut to like 1989, even into Retribution a little bit was kind of like that was like her thing, and then she kind of got away from it with Lover. And I feel like she's still kind of staying. She honestly mostly her big thing is just having feud with Kanye. Like there's a lot of like references like subtle references to him because of what he did at the Grammys however long ago.
Yeah.
And that's just been like there's been this constant feud, and she basically has a whole song about it called Mad Woman. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, so less ex-boyfriends and more just like being mad at Kanye.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna check that out because I don't mind a little bit of Tay-Tay. But let's move over to the other monsters because there's a game I've been really waiting to talk about since last week.
You wanted to talk about it last week, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't talk about it last week because it came out the next day, and that's when the embargo was because Devolver Digital had the embargo the same day, which I don't know why. Because guess what, Carrion is great.
It's so good.
Why don't you talk about the game a little bit, Alex?
Okay. So
I'm letting you talk a lot today.
Hilariously enough, I've been listening to Taylor Swift while playing this game, and it's a weirdly zen experience. So I guess maybe your monster comment earlier was a little bit more accurate, but it's super fun. Like basically, for those that don't know, this was a Devolver Digital game that got announced at their show a couple weeks ago. And one of the biggest things about it is it was available on Game Pass day one. And that's how I downloaded it. That's how I've been playing it. And you play as a monster that rips people apart. And it's so cathartic to just get to destroy people and just grow bigger.
So it's basically The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing, but you're playing The Thing.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of the monster from the last season of Stranger Things too. With a lot of the different abilities, but it's just that amorphic blob. It's 100%. This is the monster from the movie The Thing, and you're just kind of. But it doesn't. What I liked about the game is it doesn't make you too powerful because you can still die.
Yeah, there's enemies with flamethrowers that are a real nightmare to go against at points.
And those mechs.
Oh yeah,
having to tear those mechs apart slowly and take advantage of them. It's a Metroidvania, so you're unlocking the abilities by finding these DNA canisters and then adapting the DNA into yours, which give you other abilities as you're able to get through the facility. It's just a really neat game. I had it beat before it came out, and I cleared up the last few collectibles the night after. Did you finish it, Alex?
No, I've gotten to the point where I've gotten, I think I've gotten all the abilities. I'm not 100% sure, but I've gotten at least to the max like size that you can get, because
No,
there's
there's
basically
still more abilities.
Oh, okay, so yeah, do you get any bigger? Because I'm on the third tier of.
No, the third tier is as big as you get, but there's some more
Okay.
abilities.
Okay, like because I've gotten the ability to control people. I think that was the last one that I got. Maybe
Okay.
I got like I don't remember if the spikes that you get in the huge form, if that comes after that or not.
You've got a little bit more to go then, I think.
Okay, yeah, I knew I was close, and I was gonna try to finish it before the podcast today, but I just didn't get around to it. One of the things I actually kind of really like about it is, like we were saying, like you can grow in size the more you sort of consume, but some abilities only carry over depending on how big you are. And so you have to like constantly be like sort of aware, because there's puzzles that it's like, oh, I need to be the smallest size to be able to do this puzzle. Then I need to go be big and then medium. And it's really great and really makes you think about your environment.
Yeah, 100%. And there's like liquid deposits. You can drop off parts of your body and then go back and collect them later. So that you can do the puzzles. It's just a really well thought out, smart game. It's probably on my list for like favorite experiences this year. It's not a huge time suck. I think it's probably like 8 or 10 hours max. Probably took 100% it. And it's not really, as far as Metroidvanias go, there isn't secrets all over the place. Each level has like one secret in it, so it's not too in depth like that, like say an Axiom Verge. But it's got a lot of the classic DNA. It's just really fun to go around ripping humans in half and then eating their body, like their body parts as you go through, because that also restores your health. So
I have a question. I know, Alex, you played it on PC. Nathan, you played it on Switch. I'm guessing.
I played on Switch. Yep.
This one's on my radar. Do you know how much it is? Because it's one that I'm probably going to pick up at some point this year.
I think $19.99 or $22
on
like
Steam.
American.
On Steam, it's $22.99.
Okay,
so I don't know. I don't know if there's a Nintendo tax to it or not.
There usually is.
Yeah, so it might be a little bit more expensive.
That's cool. It's one that's definitely on my radar. Or I'll just wait until I have Game Pass and my new PC.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is like if you have Game Pass, it is 100% worth the download. It is so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a really cathartic experience. Just hearing when you first start playing the game and you're going through and like all the people don't have weapons yet and they're screaming. It's just, it has this primal feeling to it of just like, this feels good. Just ripping people up.
Especially when you have some T-Swizz in your ear, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So that's one game about killing humans. Let's talk about another game where you have to destroy all humans.
Ooh, I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about this.
You wrote a review about this game, correct?
I did. Yes, correct. Thank you.
Which I currently have up on the screen right now.
Ooh. But yeah, check out my review. I had it, I guess I got it on the day of the podcast last week, so I got to put some good time into it. Destroy All Humans is I don't want to say a perfect remake, but it's such a good remake of a mid-tier PS2 game. And that's the best way to put it. They fixed the controls so that it feels like you're playing a modern game, which was my biggest concern. Your movement feels good. The weapons, and combat feels good. But what hurts the game a little bit is the fact that they kept a lot of the repetitive mission structure from the PS2. So they didn't change the structure of the game, the missions themselves. So like a lot of the things, there's waves of enemies coming at you. I remember one where I was supposed to be trying to be stealthy and I got caught by a human. And so I tried to kill the human so that they didn't alert, but they kept calling police and other people over, and I couldn't destroy them because I just had waves of people just kept coming at me as I tried to kill them. But it's a really good remake of like an okay game. I wish we saw more companies take chances on this type of thing, because this is reminding me of the excitement we had in the PS2 and the companies like THQ. I think it was a bad thing we lost THQ, because we lost them taking chances on a title called Destroy All Humans. So
it's really interesting, the philosophy that THQ Nordic has been doing, because obviously this is a different studio than the one that remade SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, but they did, like, both of those studios that did the remakes have taken it like in completely different ways. Like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, one of the biggest things people were saying about it is faithful to a fault, where it is like they didn't touch anything but the visuals, where you're saying like Destroy All Humans, like they've updated like the actual like mechanics of the game, or at least like how it controls. So it's interesting how like how THQ Nordic is going about the remakes, and I know we're getting at least one more this year with Kingdoms of Amalur, so it'll be interesting to see how that one fares.
Fingers crossed. I haven't played that one, and I don't have a history with it, but I've asked for the review code for it, so we'll see what happens, and if THQ Nordic hooks us up. Mitch, you got a chance to review a game too this week, so why don't you take a second to talk about what you reviewed?
Yeah, I reviewed a game. It's definitely a game. It's not one I really want to talk much about. It's called Waifu Uncovered. This is a little sort of Galaga-like clone, except you are trying to save women from an alien virus that is infecting their clothes.
Can I show any footage of this?
Do not show any footage of this game.
It is a video game.
I'm looking at screenshots on Google. Yeah, be very
careful. Do not show any footage of this game.
Is there a screenshot he can post?
No,
I wouldn't.
I see. Here's the thing: the first 10 seconds of the trailer are fine, and then I feel like from 30 seconds onward, it just, I would not risk it.
Oh wow!
It's a perfectly fine Galaga clone. If it's your cup of tea, then great. It is not my cup of tea, so I'm glad I'm not playing it anymore.
I see a punk goth girl. How do you feel about her?
But what I have been playing, to totally change the subject, because I don't want to talk about this anymore, is Ghost of Tsushima, which is so freaking good. I cannot put this game down. I honestly think I might be enjoying it more than I enjoy The Last of Us Part 2.
It's definitely a different. I've been playing it very, very, very little. That's why it's not on my list of games that I played. I've just been having a hard time like focusing, because like the experience is so zen, and I want to just like be able to just kind of lose myself in that world, that it's hard to be able to sit down and focus on it. But I fully understand what you mean. Like, it's such an enjoyable experience, where in some ways The Last of Us Part 2 was kind of designed not to be like, the gameplay was fun, but the story was so just oppressively dark, where even though Ghost of Tsushima is serious, it's still like there's still like elements of sort of,
it feels more like a video game. Like, it has video game elements to it, where it has been my turn. It has been, it's been my podcast game this week, where I turn everything off, I shut everything out, I throw on headphones, throw on the latest episode of whatever I'm listening to, whether it's My Xbox and Me from MC Fixer, or our friends over at Scoot Gang with Disney Plus Us, whatever it is I'm listening to, and just go after, side mission after side mission, and clear out encampments, and it's just the combat. Like, this is the Batman Ninja game I didn't know I needed, because if they could adapt the Batman Ninja style, the anime that came out a few years ago, adapt that, just basically put Batman over the Ghost, and you got yourself a Batman Ninja game. Like, it is the combat, it's so satisfying. The counter system is very reminiscent of the Arkham games, which is why I bring up Batman.
I think it's more methodical though than Arkham, though, because you actually have to put like thought into it, a little bit more thought into it than Arkham, where
there's a little more depth to the counter system, in terms of whether you're doing a parry, a perfect parry, dodge roll, whatever the case might be. The duels in the game are some of the most cinematic and fun moments you will have in this game. I won't get too deep into it. There's a side quest where you basically have to wander the map and discover these 5 legendary duels and complete those to get a 6th one to unlock like a super special, I think it was an armor. I don't remember exactly, but it's just like there's these really nice like cinematic moments that I wasn't expecting. Even in the side quest, there's one side quest I won't talk to that absolutely broke me. I had to turn off the system. I could not play anymore that night, because it really hit me emotionally when something happened, and it was just in a side mission that most players, unless they're being completionists, are going to totally miss. And it just goes to show the attention to detail that we're getting out of Sony first party, and specifically here with Sucker Punch. I've always been a fan of their games, and they've knocked it out of the park with Ghost.
Yeah. I thought you said for a second there that you had encountered like the 5 legendary birds, and you were going to have to whittle down their HP and then capture them using ancient Japanese balls.
No, but that may be something that you did this weekend. Is that not right? I'm not wrong there, am I, Cozy?
Actually, you are correct. In fact, this weekend I happened to participate in Pokemon Go Fest, but not the Pokemon Go Fest that Niantic originally planned for this year. Instead, it was the You Can Enjoy This at Home style Pokemon Go Fest, where you basically went out and about.
It's a diarrhea.
Whoa, what's happening on my phone? Sorry, ignore me. I'm restarting my phone. There's nothing to close on my phone. Come on, turn off.
I want to keep talking. All right, is it off? Nathan, ground control to Nathan. Oh no!
Nathan, just mute your mic.
Someone doesn't want to talk about Pokemon Go.
How do I mute my mic?
Is there not a physical button on your microphone that you can press to mute?
No.
We are a professional podcast. Everybody, cheers.
Well, I turned it off. So
okay, great. Anyways,
sorry.
Yeah, I played Pokemon Go Fest, and it's like I said, it's the version of Pokemon Go Fest that you could just enjoy wherever you wanted to enjoy it. You didn't have to specifically fly down to Chicago, which is where Pokemon Go Fest has been held in years past. It was enjoyable. I caught a lot of Pokemon. It was ultimately, though, a little bit of disappointing. Previously, last year, I visited the Pokemon Go Safari Zone that was held here in Montreal, and it wasn't like the most extravagant high production value event you've ever seen, but there were just enough things to make it feel special. There were like gigantic real life versions of the Pokemon Go stops that also served as charging towers. There were lounges where you could hang out. There were standees of the various team leaders in Pokemon Go that you could take your photographs with. And of course, there were a ton of other people there who were just as into Pokemon Go as you were. So, obviously, it's more important right now that people find a cure to COVID-19 and we wrestle the virus under control than we return to what Pokemon Go Fest was in the past. But I really am hoping we can return to what Pokemon Go Fest was in the past, because it's a totally different experience when it's actually a set event at like a set location. In addition to
not to interject, sorry, Cozy. This is the night of weird beverage incidents, because I took a drink out of my container and then I just put it level and it like attacked me. And I don't know why. Water shouldn't be doing that. It like jumped out of my glass at my hat and my shirt, and maybe the water has something against the Leafs gear that I'm wearing, but I don't.
Looks like
sports are back. Go Leafs,
like
go.
The podcast is haunted, guys.
Maybe go Leafs, go, Nathan. Right.
Well, now I'm gonna go through the rest of this podcast in fear of what's gonna happen in here.
Yeah. It's just you and Cozy who haven't gotten attacked yet.
Okay.
Let's let Cozy. Let's let Cozy continue on his game.
Sorry, Cozy.
In addition to Pokemon Go, I also reconnected over this past week with a game that I had not played in a very long time called Lego Alpha Team. This is I suppose the best comparison I can give it is a Lemmings-like game where basically when you press the go button in this game, your little Lego minifigs, which are members of the titular Alpha Team, will start moving out on their own. And what you have to do is you basically have to take various tiles and materials from throughout the level that you're currently in, and you have to set them up so that they are directed towards whatever the goal of the level in question is. Currently, in what you're viewing on stream, basically I have to set up these tiles that will tell the minifig go in this direction, and the idea is that I eventually have to have them walk into the plunger lock that is the end of this level, and doing so will allow me to advance to the next level. There's a lot about this game that I liked back then that I still think holds up really well now. Its music is phenomenal. Its graphics, while dated, still manage to hold up in the same way that, for example, a game like Paper Mario and the Nintendo 64 holds up, where both of these experiences, rely on a very distinctive visual style that doesn't age too terribly over the decades, so you can still look at it and it still looks decent enough. The one thing about the game, though, is that it has a very, very high difficulty curve. And I remember back in the day, I would sort of jury-rig the process of how to get through levels. And I wouldn't really call this cheating, but basically, whenever you select an object in each level of the game, you are given the option to use a hint, and a hint will tell you this is where this object is supposed to be placed to allow you to figure out how to progress through the level. And so there would be maybe 14 objects in a level, and there would be 7 hints. So I would use 7 up of those hints. I would quit out of the level. I would go back into the level and then use these 7 other hints. And basically through that process, I would figure out how to get through each level in the game, more or less without having to do any actual mental work myself. So part of this playthrough that I'm doing of the game right now is, it's a nostalgia trip and I want to enjoy this game that I loved during my childhood, but it's also to see if the game is like legitimately well designed and I was just a dumb kid back then, or if this game is like actually, if its difficulty curve is really out of whack and it should have been more tight of an experience when it first came out. We shall see.
Interesting. All right. Well, that sounds good. I have another game that I played. I'm going to hold off and talk about it later in the show though, because it's going to come up later. And I think that's probably more opportune time. So let's get on to the news, to the weekly news dump.
Oh boy.
Alex or AJ, sorry. I'm going to let you take the lead on the first 2 stories.
The first 2? Okay. Well, okay. You might regret that.
Well, 1 and 3.
Okay. How about, no, I still didn't put that one in.
Oh, well, just
it's
1.
Fine. Whatever.
Number 1.
Just
do the first one, and Nathan, you do the second one. I got the rest.
All right. So the first one comes in from Vice Gaming's Patrick Klepek. You may have heard on the weekend that there has been a big Nintendo data leak. The title of this article that I have here is "A Massive Leak of Nintendo Source Code is Causing Chaos in Video Games." This is a major leak that potentially happened about 2 years ago when about 2 terabytes of old Nintendo data got hacked and stolen. And oh man, it's both exciting and kind of conflicting. It's exciting because, traditionally Nintendo is a very secretive company when it comes to all of this stuff, like old builds and stuff. There's only what Nintendo puts out is canonically what happened, and nothing else happened behind the scenes. Nintendo shits out perfect games every time. But just like any other video game company, games get iterated on as they go, right? For example, one of the biggest long-standing rumors is something all the way from Super Mario 64. If you go into the fountain, I believe that's back behind the castle, and try to make out what the pixels on the statue in the middle of the fountain read, it supposedly says L is real, with a 4-digit character. That was alluding to, hey, somewhere in the code of the game exists Luigi as a playable character.
Well, was it actually alluding to that, or was that something that people just sort of inferred because they were desperate to find Luigi?
That was what people were inferring to and hoping for, and they wanted to know all the secrets of the game, like a puzzle on top of the game itself. And it turns out at one point, Luigi was planned to potentially be a playable character in this, and that's just one of the many things that kind of got leaked out. Another one is specifically like the evolution of Yoshi, and like one of the early designs of Yoshi is kind of reminiscent to that Super Mario Maker really tall, skinny Mario guy that you can randomly get as you play. That's really, really off-putting, but they clearly tried to go for a slightly more realistic, but then they toned it down and, made it into that Nintendo style that we know and love today. Anyway, leaks like this are kind of a big deal, but they're also kind of important, especially for companies as secretive as Nintendo over the years. Specifically, archivists in the community like to take all the history, and they want to work with developers and like, hey, let's preserve this history of how we got from point A to release for games. But the chaos that this whole leak is causing right now, specifically, is the archivists who are going through this don't necessarily want stolen data, right? Because if they try and post any of it anywhere, that just opens them up for a lawsuit, right? So like, if somebody compiles some of the source code of these files together, that it just opens you up to a big Nintendo lawsuit, and nobody wants that breathing down their neck. It's super, super fascinating in my opinion. There's I know what was the Pokemon leak that happened, Mitch? You mentioned it, or Cozy?
So the source code or the development repository for Diamond and Pearl, the Gen 4 Pokemon games, was a part of this Giga leak or Giga hack or whatever it is they're calling it. And it's interesting to know that this is there, because we also saw, I think it was last year, a remake of Super Mario 64 for PC. And I think if this source code is available, then people are going to use this to make their own free versions of some of these games. Then you get into some weird litigation issues again with Nintendo, and you get to a point where, let's say the Mario 64 source code is totally in here and it's totally made available elsewhere. What incentivizes Nintendo to put out a 64 remaster, let's say, on the Switch, which is heavily rumored right now? Like, why would people go and buy it there when they can get it elsewhere for free? It's this weird thing with the internet of just making stuff available.
I don't know how well that logic kind of holds up, because Nintendo has been re-releasing their older games forever.
Yeah.
And they're like, emulation has been a thing for a really long time. So I don't see how that exactly.
Well, yeah. And
up.
I mean, Virtual Console is one thing, but let's say they're going to do a full remake on a system and charge full price for it. What's to say someone couldn't go in and use this source code to make their own remake that works better, that they just released to everybody, right?
I guess
it is different. It's not the original game versus the original game, which, yeah, the Virtual Console model, I like it because I like being able to buy these old games, because I'd rather pay money than do illegal businesses. But if someone's going to make a better version of Mario 64 that I can play on my PC for free, what incentivizes me to go and buy Nintendo's if you're release it or a remake?
My only other thing with that is just like the people who would like do that, like who would play that version of like Mario 64 if it was a thing, they probably wouldn't be buying a Switch version of it anyway. So I just don't think that it would. I don't think it would hurt Nintendo that much, or even slightly.
Well, I was going to say, will shut them down anyways.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's rare that you hear about these, like, better than the original version remakes becoming so well known and so popular that it detracts from the like official re-release that video game company in question attempts to put out. Like, I can't think of somebody can, correct me if I'm wrong or point out an example, but I can't think of an instance where, a like fan-made game, not specifically a fan-made game, but specifically let's talk about a remake of a game. I know you're probably going to think about like the Metroid game, but I feel like that's, I don't know if that example totally counts, because that was almost like its own separate original game by the end of it.
Yeah. The only thing I can sort of think of is there's when like GoldenEye being emulated on PC, people have modded it so that you can use mouse and keyboard, where then like, GoldenEye on the Wii is not a good, it's not, I mean, it's like, it's technically a different game, but it's got different, it's got the same name. So it's not exactly like, there's no like, you're right, there is no one-to-one comparison if that situation, but that's just kind of like the definitive way now to play GoldenEye is to emulate it on PC and have mouse and keyboard.
But the fact of the matter is that, if Nintendo or Rare said, hey, we're going to re-release GoldenEye, they can probably get a lot more marketing power behind that re-release than the people online with a better version of GoldenEye would ever be able to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And so in that regard, we don't really need to be concerned about the prospects of Nintendo putting out a remake of Super Mario 64. Obviously, I think we can all agree here that let's hope that Nintendo's remake of Super Mario 64, if it exists, is of a very high quality and is worth paying for. whatever they ask to pay us to pay for it.
I need the remakes of Diamond and Pearl so bad. So
I
bad.
want him too.
And just lastly with this, like I say it's kind of it's definitely a divisive issue that happened specifically because it is technically stolen goods, right? And if you really think about it, like how would any of us feel if somebody got into our Google Docs folders and our personal Google Docs folders and put those files out there, right? It's a similar concept, right? So I would feel shitty about
directly. I mean, I can compare it directly to work. If our source code got out at work, there'd be major litigation if that sort of stuff happened.
If your source code got out and somewhere in there you had like commented out a line where you had just shit talked your boss.
Yeah, I don't do that in my code.
Smart.
I know some people would.
Yeah, imagine if something like that came out. Like that would
be unfortunate.
Yeah.
The thing, at least with our code, I don't know if it's the same with Nintendo, is we do code review, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other people have to review the changes we're putting into the code. So if you're gonna, shit talk your boss, you probably shouldn't do it somewhere where other people are gonna see it. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So there's no chance of having a Hitman 2 situation of Jane fill that in later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times I'll put in the code to do finish this at some point, but
I mean that's what you're supposed to use the comment in the code for.
Exactly. So. That's just work in progress.
All right.
It's a shame some of this got out.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shame, but it's nice, but it's bad at the same time. Like it's nice to see this information, but it shouldn't have gotten out this way. So, all right. Well, let's move on. And we'll talk about something a little bit more happier with Nintendo. There's a new Animal Crossing update, everybody. Is everybody excited about the new Animal Crossing update?
Have fun, Nathan.
I haven't played it in many months.
Yeah.
So I haven't missed a day since it came out. I was looking at my account. I've not missed a single day of it. But the stuff that they're adding for Wave 2, we're going to get fireworks shows in August on every Sunday after 7 p.m.
Wow.
So, and there'll be raffles, and you can make your own fireworks, I believe. So your own designs for it. So AJ, if you jump back in, I bet you can make penis fireworks.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
All right. Other things that we're going to be putting back in, there's a new dreaming feature where you can go to sleep in your bed, and apparently you can get a dream address from people where you can go to their islands and do whatever you want to their islands because it's a dream and nothing stays permanent. So it's an interesting thing. I'm not sure how much that's going to be used. The biggest piece of note, though, somehow Nintendo has figured out how to do the island backup and restoration services. Because up until this point, if you have a problem with your Switch or your Switch dies, you're effed. And your island is gone. So they've now found a way to do the backup. So after the update, you'll be able to back your island up. So in case of loss or damage, Nintendo will be able to restore your island afterwards, which is good because my wife's Switch the fan on it sounds like it's dying. So it probably needs to go in, and we've been waiting for this update.
PS4 does, or
worse?
Oh wow.
I wonder.
So why
did they cave?
Matter? Why does any of this matter other than the backup?
Well, fireworks is really fun.
Yeah, it's just more content.
It's just more content. Like
as you were standing up, we were talking about big girthy fireworks exploding in the air.
See you guys later.
My main question is, I wonder why Nintendo finally caved to adding the backup. Like that just doesn't seem like they would do that.
They said that this was going to come down the line.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that. Like I thought that was just like a thing that they were just like, yeah, we're not going to do it. Like I just
no.
Okay.
No, they said it was not coming at launch, and eventually they would do it because they went with a really weird system where everybody on the island or on your Switch is a resident on the same island instead of giving individual islands to people on the Switch.
So do you think that'll come next, that they might actually do it?
No.
Okay. That's a bridge too far?
Yeah, I think so. Because then at that point it gets messy. Like say, like my wife on her Switch has my two boys' houses on it. So say they do eventually do that, then they want to start their own islands, but my wife already has their houses on their island, and you can't get rid of them.
Oh yeah, okay. That does mean it's a little messy.
The weirdest thing about this is this only allows for cloud save and backup and restoration through Nintendo.
Yeah.
So you have to contact Nintendo if your Switch gets messed up or whatever, and you have a new one to do the transfer. actual system transfers of Animal Crossing content is coming later, which is so.
How do they still fuck this up?
I don't know.
Holy shit.
Oh man.
I think we've said it before, but I don't think Nintendo understands how online works.
No, they don't.
I don't think they've ever been on
Pokemon
the
as an
internet
example.
before.
Well, they haven't been able to survive this pandemic because they don't know how to work remotely.
Yeah. So I just thought we'd bring a little bit of Nintendo into it. So,
sorry, I know it was a bridge too far.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Anyway,
like,
whatever. Yeah, it's fine.
Let's move on. Mitch, why don't you tell us about Grounded?
It's a game, and it came out, and it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets a survival experience thingy. But what is interesting is the fact that it hit the top of the Steam bestseller list over its launch day.
That's genuinely surprising.
Yeah, so this news coming to us from where's my thing I have here? Sheriff Said over at VG247. And yeah, so on Grounded's release day, it hit the top of the Steam bestseller list, even though it is available through Xbox Game Pass, which is very interesting. And the Steam concurrent numbers weren't really anything special, even with all those purchases, but a lot of that could be driven by the fact that people could have been playing it through Game Pass or through the Windows Store. So that's it's a split market. So using concurrent users really isn't a good measure. What is interesting, though, is that Grounded hit the top 3 spot on Twitch on launch day. So in terms of viewers, people were very interested in this game. And it's interesting to see the Game Pass model apply. And this is not the first time we've seen a Game Pass release drive sales on another store, nor is it the first time we've seen a Game Pass game jump to the top of the Twitch viewership. So it's just very interesting to see Microsoft's approach to Game Pass and how it's affecting the market, how it's changing the way people consume games, whether it be purchasing it or watching it on Twitch. It's just really odd, but I'm here for it.
I think I'm about to download it after this podcast is done, so I'm gonna come back next week and sort of have more cohesive thoughts about it. But I think the most interesting thing about it, besides everything that's been stated so far, is just the fact that this wasn't dead on arrival like Bleeding Edge. Like, I honestly was kind of thinking it was gonna be, because this is like, who wanted this from Obsidian? But the fact that it's
different, right? Like, Bleeding Edge is just another character arena combat game, whereas this you could have something different aesthetically.
That's true, but you also could have just chalked it up of it's another survival game. I think the aesthetics do help push it, but you have so many games that are like this. But you know, the fact that it didn't, the fact that it's doing as well as it is on Steam, is kind of genuinely incredible. And so, you know, it seems like, I mean, both this and Sea of Thieves have been doing pretty well on Steam, even though that they're available on Game Pass. So Microsoft, it's working for them somehow.
If the Xbox presentation last week didn't teach us anything, it's that was an amazing Game Pass advertisement, and the fact that, you know, we're still getting more and more different things that none of us would really think to buy on our own, and we're just
honestly
access to it.
It honestly amazing. Should have been called the Xbox Game Pass Showcase. Like, it's so worth it.
I think part of it too is the experiences that you're talking about with Bleeding Edge. I know it's not really doing gangbusters, but something like Sea of Thieves, like Grounded, like we will absolutely see with Halo in the fall, what we saw with Gears, is these things sell well on places that aren't Game Pass because word of mouth or Twitch viewership or whatever it is just drives people to buy the thing where they have it, not necessarily sub to Game Pass. If you do that, great, you have access to all these games. But if my friends are playing Halo Infinite in the fall and I don't really want to get Game Pass, I may just pick it up on PC to play it with friends, because why not? If I don't want the full package, I can still be that consumer that just wants in, and there's a way.
There are some people who are on PC ecosystem specifically that are so stingy of, I only want to play all my games on Steam, and if it's not there, then fuck Epic and fuck it's just like, holy shit, man, it's literally
Uplay and Origin,
it's literally just another
Blizzard launcher and all
it's
these
another
things.
browser that's literally free. It takes up nothing on your hard drive. Like even if you have a micro hard drive, it'll probably still be able to run the executable. Like just shut up. It's just another way to play games.
Since I got my new PC, I built it. I think I have 6 different launchers on my PC now.
Sounds about
Doesn't
right.
seem like a big deal.
Epic, Origin, Uplay, Blizzard,
GOG.
Yeah, GOG,
Yeah.
Steam.
I said
Yeah.
Steam.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what the other ones are.
I downloaded that Itch Epic for that
Oh,
bundle
yeah.
that they had.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
there's tons of stuff out there.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just the nature of the marketplace.
And like Steam is great because you could literally just add any extension or like add any executable into Steam and it'll show up in your Steam library. Like there's literally no reason to complain about it, but people will do it anyway on the internet.
I did that with
Internet
Watch
is
Dogs.
great. I mean, look at what the internet did to my thoughts on mac and cheese.
Well,
I
I mean,
will-
you know,
I will say,
Oh,
the Windows
people are
Store.
stupid.
The Windows Store has a very rough time with integrating into games into Steam.
Oh yeah, the Xbox app fucking sucks on PC.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So that's something that I've been trying to do so that I can like, put games into my Steam library, and then I could like on the computer downstairs, I could basically remote into this and like, do some network play or something like that. But the Windows 10 game store does not play well with anything else. So
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. And so we're going to go to talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, I know we have the #1 Spider-Man fan here. Mitch, tell us about it.
That's debatable.
be great,
I
and I want it.
Spider-Man.
I bought a Spider-Man costume for our PS5 live stream that one I missed, and two, the costume still hasn't shown up, and I'm kind of worried because they charged me for it, and I haven't gotten it, and it's been like a month and a half.
That sounds
That
like a
means-
fake fan to me. Go ahead.
I just kick him out of the call. Like, I'm down for it. I don't really care. So Miles
Can we
Morales,
kick each other out of the call?
I think so. We probably shouldn't try. We also probably shouldn't activate my Alexa by saying names. Stop. Fucking stop already. No.
Hey guys, anyone here want to vote to kick Mitch out?
I unplugged it. It's
how do we
fine.
do that?
It's just the night of technical issues. So Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming out in the fall, and there are increasing rumors that a remaster of the original PS4 Spider-Man will be included with the game on next-gen hardware, which is interesting. This news coming to us also from Sheriff over at their VG247. They spotted that the latest issue of Game Informer includes a quote saying that it isn't a traditional sequel since it comes bundled with a remastered version of Spider-Man that takes full advantage of the PS5 hardware. Now, Game Informer is a magazine. Magazines go to print 6 weeks before they actually hit store shelves.
Stupid early.
Mhm.
So this could just be there were those rumors when the game was first announced that it was going to either include a remaster or there would be a remaster or whatever. So it could just be a rush to get things to print without it getting edited out. But given that Sony's shown off Spider-Man so often when it comes to showcasing the PS5 hardware, do we think a Spider-Man remaster, it makes sense for this, for one? And two, do you think people are going to buy it? Because the PS5 is backwards compatible with the PS4 game. So what incentive is there going to be to justify spending, let's say Miles Morales ends up then being a full price game because it includes the remaster. Are you willing to pay $80 for what is the new Miles Morales content and an optimized version of Spider-Man? Or would you want to just sort of see it thrown in still at a budget price?
I think they'll throw it in at a budget price if they do this. I think there's a lot of validity to this because of the misspeaking of the Sony executive after the initial PS5 launch when they announced it, because he did say that it was coming. So, and then everybody stepped back, including Insomniac, and said it's a full standalone release. So they have to treat it that way price wise, right? Because they've already said that.
I have no idea.
I mean,
I have no clue.
my speculation is I think it's going to be a full price game when it comes out, even if it is like a budget title. I think that this is like they're using the Spider-Man name to try to help sell systems, and if they have like that sort of price tag associated with it, I think that will, and I think then adding like the Spider-Man based game will kind of help push that. And especially if it is a remastered where it like looks a little bit better, like they increase like the anti-alias, like they push those sliders up a little bit and like try to, because like one of the big things that we've only seen one thing for Miles Morales, but it looks like they've updated the lighting engine. If they can like reverse engineer that back into the base game, like I think adding things like that and then being able to show it off could be the thing that gets it to like that full price tag.
Okay.
It's funny. I had the Spider-Man Game of the Year edition sitting in my PlayStation cart for the majority of the week because I wanted to own it digital, expecting to buy the digital PS5. Now with this coming out, I've kind of put that on the back burner thinking I'll wait and see what happens around the remaster and things like that if it comes to light. And instead of spending money on that, I spent money on a second pre-order for Marvel's Avengers. And and today we got the second Marvel Avengers War Table briefing thing that walked us through the content we're going to get in the beta, the first DLC character, and the fact that more content is coming down the line.
Can I ask you a big question about this?
Do you want me to go through the news story first, or do you want to ask me the question?
I'm going to ask you the question first.
All right.
Did Casey Lynch do voice work for it?
No.
No. Okay, good.
They learned their lesson.
I wanted to ask a question. So, like, I watched this War Table thing as well, and I mean, it was a very slick presentation. In your opinion, did its gameplay look substantially better than what was shown last time? Because I was watching, I'm like, all right. It does not. I cannot see a discernible of a difference.
I mean, it hasn't been very long from the first presentation to this one. I did see some segments of gameplay that looked genuinely fun. The other thing that I would suggest, Cozy, is if you didn't, or if you have access to a 4K TV, the whole video's up there in 4K. Watching it in 4K is ridiculous. The game looks so good.
Yeah. I'm sure that this trailer looks great in 4K, but I mean, so do a lot of other things in 4K.
I mean, my biggest thing is like if you were gonna watch, like if you say like watch like the Kind of Funny react along, or like whoever does a react along, definitely go back and watch these trailers and stuff like again, if you're interested, because the compression. We brought this up on the Xbox podcast, but it's like you're watching a compressed version of it.
Well,
then
I
it's
understand.
again, and it's
I understand from like a visual perspective, but in terms of the sheer gameplay of what's on offer.
I think the Kamala Khan gameplay looks fun. I think the swinging around with Black Widow looked cool. I think smashing everything with the Hulk, it will be genuinely fun. Flying with Iron Man looked cool. There's a lot that I'm excited about for this game. Can I get into what they actually talked about today, and then we can ask our questions?
Yeah,
I guess so.
So they detailed a bunch about the content that we're going to get in the War Table or in the beta. There's something like 20 missions or something they're going to make available. They're making available, I think, 3 missions from the main game. So you have some single player content there as well, including the demo level that we got at New York Comic Con last year, the bridge sequence. So it'll be interesting to hear people's opinions on how that's improved over the last year. They also confirmed that the first post-launch character will in fact be Hawkeye, who people have been asking about since the first trailer for the game was shown. This version of Hawkeye seems to be drawing inspiration from the Matt Fraction run on Hawkeye, which could be very exciting. Each new DLC character will have their own in-depth story mission chain separate from the main campaign, which can be played solo or cooperatively. And there's going to be more content in late game that they haven't really gotten into much that they'll discuss closer to launch. Things like the Harm challenge rooms, more war zones. They said there's like 60 different enemy types, something like 50 or 60 missions. I don't know. There's a lot of content that's going to be in this game at launch, and they're planning on adding more content post-launch for free, which is great. Now you can ask your questions.
I just wanted to say that having after watching this, if I remember correctly, on our ranking for the rest of the year, I suggested that after the beta, it would be delayed. And it was one of those moments where you allowed me to call a mulligan on it. And I went back and said, no, this will be delayed after the beta. I regret that decision.
It's definitely coming out.
Something.
The beta ends a week before the game launches. It's coming out.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, if an NBA game from EA a few years ago can't come out,
NBA 08.
was it?
Yeah, it was 08.
Elite. NBA.
Oh yeah, it was Elite.
Yeah.
No,
NBA.
it was NBA. It was NBA Live like 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't that long ago.
No,
No,
it was the Xbox 360 generation.
No, it was definitely Xbox One, PS4.
Anyways,
Okay.
there was an NBA Live
11,
game that got
11.
Okay, so
11. Okay.
here's the thing. I still don't have a lot of faith in this game, as I think has been made apparent so far. However, I've come to the decision that I am going to get in on the beta day one. Because, as I previously said, I want to get in on one of these live service games on day one. And, I mean, there's not a whole lot coming up in August for me, so I think it'll, at the very least, be a fun thing to experience, regardless of how fun the actual game is. So
I'm only happy.
Sorry,
I'm only happy that I'm playing it with I'll be playing with you, Mitch, and now probably Cozy as well. I would definitely not get this game if it was just going to be me by myself.
Oh, it's
Like,
gonna be
I
such
think
a dumpster fire.
You're also saving some money on it.
That too. I think no matter what, I'm going to enjoy my experience, even if it's not going to be very good.
All right.
Hold on. One last thing. I'm sorry, Nathan, but I need to ask
That's
this.
fine.
It's going to sound like a joke, but it's a genuine question. In terms of the trophy situation with this game, am I correct in assuming that the trophy list is only going to be made available at the game's actual launch?
Yeah, probably.
I would imagine maybe there's something backloaded into PSN before that, because you have to imagine if reviews are coming out on launch day, which is September 5th. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the date.
I think it's September 4th.
September 4th. I think 4th sounds right. Reviewers are probably going to be they're probably going to have this game and be playing it ahead or during the beta. So that trophy list is probably going to be live once the beta goes live, but it probably wouldn't be something you can start earning towards in the beta. If that's what you were trying to ask, Cozy.
So just like a little peek behind the curtain, when you get games before they come out, sometimes those trophies aren't unlocked on the PSN. So I can be getting a game prior to launch and unlocking trophies, and they pop saying they've unlocked, but then I can't go look at them in the trophy list.
Okay.
Like they don't show up yet. So there's a way to get trophies, but even if I press the PlayStation button when that trophy pops, it just says no data available.
I also know that like Greg Miller and stuff, they intentionally, when they have to review a game,
hide their trophies
trophy
too.
list and everything, like just in case.
Okay, thanks for
Square
answering.
puts it in the background.
One final question. I'm sorry to keep
No,
this
let's keep
dragging
talking
on.
about this.
I just want to say thanks for answering my trophy question, by the way.
I want to
Not
ask,
making fun of me.
because we've all been so just negative about Avengers, all of us except for you, Mitch. And so I
I'm
want to ask
super
you,
excited for someone who thinks the game's going to get a 60 on OpenCritic. But yeah, I mean, like a 60 is something that I'm still going to play the crap out of and have a good time with.
right. I want to ask a positive question, at least one. It is cool that all of the post-game characters are going to be free. I think it's cool that Hawkeye is going to be free when it comes out. Who is your number one most anticipated character that you want to see added in post-game?
I mean, the easy answer is Spider-Man.
Yeah, I guess so.
If I were to go a little more out of left field, Star-Lord, because I feel like you get the flight there, which would be interesting. If they didn't go with the MCU version and he had things like his elemental weapons, that would be pretty cool. I also think that we will, if not sooner than later, we will see Captain Marvel in this game. I think that's a shoo-in, as well as Black Panther. I think those two are basically guarantees at this point. Star-Lord is me being hopeful because I feel like the comedy there would be fun.
Very nice.
Is Cop Dog part of the Marvel universe?
The hell is a cop dog?
You know, Cop Dog.
I don't know Cop Dog. Is that a weird French thing I should be aware of?
I'll look it up. All right, we can move on to the next move.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
God.
just gonna say I would like Beast in this game.
Honestly, I want them to like throw Wolverine or someone else. It's like, oh, they're going all the way. Like they're getting the Fox characters, they're getting Sony characters. It does not matter. Just put them in this game. That would be awesome.
That's why I said Beast.
Give me Doctor Strange. That's all.
Doctor Strange would be dope.
Wolverine to run around and stab things with.
Okay. So
Wolverine would be great.
We're running really long here. In the read,
Yeah,
watch
we are.
all things categories, is there anything anybody feels really passionate that we need to talk about?
Gabe
Yeah,
Gabe Newell said
None
Xbox
of that.
Series X is better than PS5.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
There's a video of it on Twitter. You can find it there. You can probably just search Gabe
He'll
Newell.
make Half-Life 3 for the Xbox, but he won't, so it's fine.
Yeah, you know. Another thing, Blaseball, if you need a baseball fix, is a cool thing that I found. Vice Gaming, Peter
Jays are
Jackson.
down 1-0 in the top of the 10th.
I don't know. It just still seems unsafe. But no, it's just a fake like fantasy baseball matchup thing, and like a season takes place in a week. BLASEBALL.com, and I am rooting for the Canada Moist Talkers. There's other teams like the Charleston Shoe Thieves, the New York Millennials, Mexico City Wild Wings, things like that. It's all fake fun stuff. Miami Dale, Pitbull related, but yeah, it's just the super good fun time waster that you can just play in your browser.
Cool.
I think that's all we need to care about in that.
Cool. All right, let's move on to its raining deals. This week, it wasn't Mitch who put any deals in; it was me. So let's talk about the Xbox Live free games first. On Xbox Live, for the entire month, Portal Knights is going to be available for August, and I think that's an Xbox One game. And then for Xbox One as well, Override Mech City Brawl will be available in the latter half of the month. And then MX Unleashed is going to be... Is that an regular Xbox game? But it will be available for the first part of the month, followed by Red Faction 2 for the second part of the month. What do you guys think about this mix for Games with Gold?
It's just kind of not... There's nothing really that stands out.
To the end of a gaming generation here.
I feel like Portal Knights is one of those games that we got on PlayStation Plus a really long time ago, and it's just sat in my hard drive, and I've been like, not today. Another day.
It's also interesting to see how like anything on Xbox that I would probably want to come to Games with Gold or like a PlayStation Plus or something like that is just going to be on Game Pass anyway. So I'm like less excited about games with Gold.
Yeah, Games with Gold kind of lost its punch after Game Pass came out.
Okay, that's fair. For PS Plus, though, I think this is a really interesting month for PS Plus. I guess it's headlined by Modern Warfare 2 being available, which is just the campaign mode, no multiplayer. But that's one hell of a campaign.
Yes.
Which is really good. But then I think this is probably the biggest PS Plus game that we've had.
Sorry, Modern Warfare 2 is the one with no Russian, right?
Yes, no Russian. Yep.
Thank you. Carry
on. So probably the biggest PS Plus game because it's debuting, and we haven't had that happen forever. I want to say since Rocket League. I could be wrong. But the game Fall Guys is coming. Now, are you guys familiar with Fall Guys?
Yeah, it's a sequel to Autumn Guys.
Wait, wouldn't they be the same thing?
Wouldn't it be the sequel to Summer Guys?
Yeah, Summer Guys.
Yeah, actually, it would have made more sense. It's the remake of Autumn Guys, is what I should have said.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, this one went kind of viral over the weekend with their betas. It just seems like it's like a platformer battle royale.
Yes. I actually got a chance to play the beta over the weekend. I got a code from Kyle, which was very nice of him, and the NYC kind of funny crew, or KF NYC. Anyways, I had a chance to play it. I probably put like 3 or 4 hours into the game, and it was a hoot the entire time. I actually won two of the shows. So if you guys remember, like the game, do you remember the show MXC? Or I guess like Wipeout would be its equivalent now.
Elimination Challenge.
I remember Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
Yeah.
Back in the G4 days, right?
Warrior.
So this is that, but with these really cute creatures that you've got to run around with. And your goal is, so they'll do 5 rounds, and each round they eliminate people out of the running till it's just down to like the final 9 usually, where it puts you like, finally, it's the last chance for everybody to, or for the one person to win. So it's just a really interesting mix. I had tons and tons of fun playing it. I was screaming at the screen at some points. It's a really good game. Some of it comes down to teamwork. They'll turn you into teams, and if your team wins, you'll move on. If not, your team doesn't win, you're eliminated. So that can be a little bit frustrating from time to time, because it's not just you. You could be eliminated because other people are dummies.
We 100% have to stream us playing this.
Yes, it's going to be really good, and it's free on PS Plus, so I think we're all going to have it.
I'm going to say this is going to make it for a very interesting companion piece alongside Marvel's Avengers in August. I am very much looking forward to comparing these two games.
I think it's really interesting
I don't know there's going to be much of a comparison there, Cozy. They're very different experiences.
We'll see. We'll see.
There's online components to them.
I think it's really interesting that the two biggest games from the Devolver Digital Showcase have both now become free on separate services. I think that's really interesting that Devolver Digital has been, just kind of, they've been putting their games in interesting places.
Mm-hmm. 100%. This was a game I was going to buy after playing the beta. I was like, hands down, I'm going to buy this.
And then the kind of game that, like, this kind of game needs a lot of people playing it to be successful. 100%. So it absolutely makes sense for them to go either a free-to-play model or this model of making it available on a service.
Are there going to be I was going to ask, are there going to be microtransactions in it?
I wouldn't.
There will be.
You think?
Yeah, 100%. If they're putting this for free, in the beta,
it's PlayStation Plus though, right? So it's not that it's a free game; it's just free for a month,
free
right?
With PlayStation Plus.
But Rocket League was free.
For
PlayStation Plus, and then it had microtransactions. So
there is a store in the game.
Okay.
That says coming soon.
I love
Okay.
There's a bit of in-game currency you can unlock, because like when you win, you get crowns. And there's also what I see happening is a battle pass type situation, because there's lots of costumes you can unlock.
That'd be cool.
For like customizing yourself. So they're maybe not microtransactions isn't the right word, but they might let you buy currency. But I think more likely the case, they'll let you buy the battle passes, or because they've got a season pass in it. So I could see something more like that. But this is probably going to be the funnest game I've played in a long, long time for just pure fun.
It's hard. Sorry, it's hard though to think of them going the battle pass route, because it's not a free to play game, right? We see that for the most part in those free to play battle royale experiences, but not a game of this variety. So it'll be interesting to see what approach they take.
Everybody's adding it though. Like Call of Duty has a paid battle pass, doesn't it?
Yeah, but Warzone's free.
Oh, that's true. All right, I don't know. Crash Team Racing added one.
But that's Activision needing money for no reason.
So I'm curious to see more about it. We'll hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be playing it August 4th. I'm going to have a few days before I have to go up to the cottage with it, and then I'm not going to be able to play for like a week and a bit while I'm up vacation at the cottage. So I'm curious to see how good people are by the time I get back, and if that experience is ruined because everybody's gotten too good at it.
Take the PlayStation with you. It's no big deal.
My dad said no. I already told him I was bringing. He's like, you're not bringing the PlayStation.
Remote play from your Vita.
Yeah, I could try that and see how that works. Tried to remote play down to my PC today to play Demon's Tilt for review, and that pinball game remote play did not work super well. So just for downstairs. But on that note, Cozy, we're going to run an ad quickly, correct?
Yeah.
So, sorry, Alex, you're going to have to edit this out, but I'm going to use that as a chance to go pee.
Just do what I do and just, leave during the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do that too, but now we can make money when I have to pee, so it's fine.
Okay, so whose hits the sad break? Does it matter?
Oh wait, have we not hit the run ad button yet?
No.
How does that work? I don't understand.
Here, I hit an ad.
You guys said you were so confident in how
Rosie,
you knew
I
how to
figured
do
you were
this.
running the stream. You were going to know how to do it. I have
I
no
think
idea.
it's going
I'm not currently logged into Press YYZ. I can't do it.
Oh,
I've got it going right now. I put the ad on.
Okay. When you guys said running the stream, I thought you meant, I'm in control of the 1s and 2s, switching scenes and whatnot.
This is still very new, and we're still learning how this works.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for the miscommunication.
So it's all good. We should have talked about it beforehand. Dumpster truck on fire. We're still learning.
TJ in the chat says this just popped up. I don't know if he's seeing something.
Maybe you took a blue pill.
Oh, potential PS5 leaks. Oh, breaking news.
Hey, are you guys seeing the ads in the chat? Can you confirm that?
If say nothing if you are seeing an ad.
Yeah. It's okay. It should be done now.
If you're a dog, bark yes for no.
They said no ad on there. Oh, but they wouldn't see it because they're subscribers, right?
Hold on a second.
subs would stay with us.
So
it looks like there's.
Let's see. This is from Twitter user Geronimo_73, also known as Roberto Serrano. Unproven hashtag PS5 state of play leaks offers huge surprises,
I'll believe
including
it when I see it.
Silent Hill reveal and a closer look at the PlayStation 5 console.
this is the guy who said that we'd be getting the pre-orders like a Monday 3 weeks ago. That the pre-orders were going to go live.
I really don't believe that Silent Hill is ever going to be a thing.
There's one of the games listed here is the Hogwarts game, and I mean, hasn't it already been confirmed that that's going to be done at its own separate event?
That's going to be at DC Fandom, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Harry Potter isn't DC. Why would
But
it be
it's
there?
Warner Brothers. Like, it's all under the
Yeah,
same
but
umbrella, though.
Yeah, but DC Fandom is for DC, not fucking wizards and witches.
It's all
and stuff.
AT&T fucking conglomerate anyway. Like, why can't they cross-promote?
Oh, so I have
Alright.
a question.
Yes.
You said you weren't logged into our account, but then how are we live streaming if you're not logged into the Press YYZ account?
Log in on OBS.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, I have no idea how any of that works, so thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you have to edit all this out, Alex.
Is
So-
all this so? Yeah, never mind. I have a lot of doubts in the validity of some of these things. I think we're gonna get a new Silent Hill game someday, but yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this leak situation too. And some of the things he's leaked have already not come true. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, like the Call of Duty thing or whatever, right?
Yeah.
We already have the Doritos advertising that it's going to be Cold War.
Well, and I don't know if you heard while you were gone, Mitch, but this is the guy who leaked the pre-orders going live 3 weeks ago on that Monday.
Yeah, no, I
That
heard
didn't happen.
that when I was back at that point.
Okay, cool. So anyways, let's move on. It's interesting, and we'll keep our eyes open. There's a rumored event next week on the 6th for Sony. So we'll see what happens.
We'll
and,
react to it.
yeah, if there is, we'll react because it's the day before I leave for the cottage.
Perfect.
So yeah. So anyways, so let's get into video game rehab. Now this week on video game rehab, we're gonna do video channel rehab or TV channel rehab as G4 TV or Tech TV is coming back, as we've gotten a teaser trailer saying 2021. So we thought this would be an opportune time to talk about what that looks like in the year 2021 and what it was. So I'm not as familiar with G4 Tech TV. So can one of you guys go over and just kind of give me what was it? So I'm aware of a few of the personalities and stuff, but let's talk about what it was a little bit more.
Go for it, Mitch.
G4 or G4 Tech TV, as we had it in Canada, was a specialty cable network that focused on video game content, at least in their primetime slots. You had shows like Attack of the Show, which focused on nerd culture, content, tech. Like they did tech reviews and things like that. You had X-Play, which focused on games, had game reviews. You had some Canadian content in Victor Lucas's Electric Playground and Reviews on the Run, which were great. And outside of that, you got a lot of Star Wars marathons and cop reruns and What else did we have on G4?
You had X-Play and Attack of the Show.
I said that already.
I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
In the clouds.
Quick question to help further.
So sorry.
It's all right.
ahead,
Quick
Coach.
question to help further like illustrate what kind of content they had to offer. What show would you say that they had to offer that was most like, for example, what I write for gamers or like other video essayists?
Okay, so they had a early on in like the early 2000s. They had a numerous amount of like other video game related shows. And other tech related shows, like you've got Leo Laporte's Call for Help, things like that. They had a show called Arena where, you know, if you remember as a kid here in Canada, Video and Arcade Top 10, where they'd bring kids up to a TV studio and they'd play video games and compete against each other and win prizes and stuff. It was like that, but for like quote unquote grown-ups. There was shows like Cinematech, which basically showcased the cinematics of video games and the artistic vision, movie-like quality. A lot of it was Metal Gear, let's be real. And then there were other shows like Cheat, where they would go through some tips and tricks, and like early on when you had cheat codes in video games, there would be they would actually give you the cheat codes, like you would look up in the back of a game magazine or something like that.
Okay.
So, in terms of like documentary style like content or whatever, and there didn't seem to be too much of that, because it was mostly it was mostly to the minute news related stuff. So
okay. And I was asking that because over the years, I've gotten a lot of praises from people who are fans of the Gamers YouTube channel say, oh man, it's just like watching G4 back in the day. And admittedly, I don't have a ton of experience with G4's content. In fact, I'd say most of my knowledge base of G4 comes from a lot of the retrospective articles that have been written about its demise in the years following its demise, or like Adam Sussler talking about it on the Comedy Button, for example. So this is very informative.
Yeah, there was some essay style content as part of X-Play. Like they did focus a lot on news and reviews, but they did have like video essay style stuff similar to what you do for gamers. Not as long form, but it was still good fun.
Definitely made for TV and commercial break stuff.
Yeah, the thing I remember most fondly of G4, that it's where I consumed all the E3 press conferences. I didn't go to IGN for that stuff. I flipped to channel 515 on my Bell Express View and just sat there for like 3 days straight, just consuming all of this content. And that week every year was so great because you'd have the Attack of the Show and X-Play crew. So Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb, Kevin Pereira, Olivia Munn all go down and do their pre-show, post-show stuff. Watch the conferences. You'd have the reviews on the Run crew. You'd have our Canadian contingent. You'd have guys like Victor Lucas, Scott C. Jones, Steve Tilley, Marissa Roberto, Tommy Tellerico way back in the day. They'd go down, and I was thinking more in like the later years, like Reviews on the Run would do a daily show from the E3 floor, and they talk about all the stuff they play. They do their best of E3 awards. It was a lot of fun.
I remember, sorry, just really quick, there was one big blunder that they did during E3. It was 2007, and I remember I was at my friend Kenny's place watching.
Is this the Halo thing?
Yeah, it's the Halo thing. They cut to a commercial break in the middle of debuting exclusively the Halo trailer. Halo 3 trailer.
Oof.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was so angry.
It's since come out that basically they kind of had their hands tied in that situation, that everybody there who really cared about the content of G4 didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, it all came from, the people up above who are
Channels need their ad breaks, right?
Yeah, they're just like, no one cares.
People who do ad breaks are jerks, apparently.
Yeah, no, but I mean, there were a lot of occasions where in the later years, at least, they covered the press conferences without ad breaks. They kind of learned their lesson from the Halo thing. And it's something I miss because I really enjoyed that content. That being said, the landscape of video game content production, whether it be from a news perspective, a commentaries perspective, a reviews perspective, it has changed drastically over the years. And it's part of the reason I think why G4 in its first iteration ultimately failed is that they didn't modernize when everyone around them was moving. They were kind of sticking their feet in the mud saying, no, you want 4 hours of cops back to back on a Saturday afternoon, right? And that wasn't what people wanted. And we saw what happened with,
I think,
yeah, cops finally got canceled, but that's not the point.
Like, the thing is, like, though, I think a lot of the personalities that, like, sort of got big because of G4, they kind of, I mean, they all left. That's one of the biggest things that caused it to fail. Like, I know a lot of the people
they didn't leave. The shows got canceled for the most part.
Oh,
the last few months, it was just reruns of old shows and cops and stuff.
So a lot of them left, like Olivia Munn left, and then they rebooted. Not rebooted. They continued to tackle the show with new personalities, but Kevin Pereira was still there. Mm-hmm. And then eventually Kevin Pereira left, and he, it was still the show, but it wasn't the same without Kevin Pereira, right? Mm-hmm. X-Play, Blair Herter is great, but if you don't have X-Play with I'll be interested
in Webb.
It. If you don't have Adam Sessler or Morgan Webb, it was kind of not the same thing. They had the spark that I think made it what it was.
Yeah. Too is what I mean, we can get into this if we want to get into it now, Nathan, not to steal your thunder, but what does G4 look like in 2021? It can't be a cable news net or a cable paid network anymore. The only paid cable network that succeeds is HBO. So
no, and I don't think
be?
And actually the timing was right up because I was going to bring that up. And sorry, Alex, go ahead.
My thought about what it's going to be is, I think in a lot of ways this is going to feel similar to the revival of Inside Gaming with Rooster Teeth, except you're going to be missing all of the people that brought G4 to life in the first place. I think I don't understand what their thought process is going to be, because one of the really cool things when Inside Gaming came back from the dead was all the people who used to work at Inside Gaming were at Funhouse, and Funhouse was the property that, or they basically was an actual revival, where this is just I mean, there's there's the petition on Twitter, the petition to get Xavier Woods to be on G4, but it's
awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. But also, I'm kind of wondering, why does he want to be on it so badly? Besides the fact that it's G4, I feel like he's got he's got his own thing that he's built up by himself. So why does it matter that it needs to be G4? So I don't see how this is going to work.
So I think it's more coverage. So I'm much more optimistic on this. Now, in terms of personalities, Adam Sessler, last time I heard from him, was working for the company that made Friday the 13th and recently Predator, right?
Yeah.
Elphonic. I don't think he's there anymore.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He does some consulting stuff. I know he goes on a lot of unfortunately, I see him go on a lot of Twitter tirades. While he is on the right side of history, he does seem to pick fights in a way that is kind of sketchy, in my opinion. So I don't know.
So Victor, I don't know what Morgan Webb's up to nowadays. But Victor Lucas is still running Electric Playground as a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
we actually met him. His
content is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You should get him
at a Cineplex.
I'd love
before those stopped becoming a thing. I remember specifically last year around the holiday times, he was they were showing in the pre-show, they were showing ads with him going to Nintendo, a Nintendo event, and asking people about Mario Maker and what they would get for a Switch. So he's still doing stuff.
He's been looking for a partner to keep Electric Playground going. So I could see a definite position where he could be brought back to G4 with Electric Playground, as he's continued to keep that as a YouTube channel running. and have some of his content on there. And Morgan Webb, so Private Jeebus in the chat is now saying that she's on the development side. She definitely retweeted it, the fact that G4 is going live.
All four of their main hosts did, right? We saw something from Kevin Pereira and Olivia Munn as well.
Their tweets didn't seem like it seemed like it was kind of a surprise to them, though. Am I wrong about that?
That one from Morgan Webb was pretty tongue in cheek. Of I guess someone remembered the Twitter password.
Yeah, I have that one pulled up right here.
I think some of it as far as we know, Blair Herter is working for Comcast. Comcast is the one reviving G4, and he is going to be doing an AMA this week. So we will learn more about what G4 is going to be. But the fact that Blair Herter is involved with it, he must have, under NDA, let the previous host know, yes, this is coming. If you want to coordinate some social push on it, great. If you want to come back for guest spots, we'd love to have you.
He's married to Chobot, right?
Yeah, he is married to Jessica Chobot.
Okay. Well, there's a new host too.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But do we think it's going to come back? Like, is it going to be appointment viewing on Twitch? Is it going to be a YouTube channel? Is it going to be part of NBC Universal's Peacock, since they own Comcast now? Like, what's it going to be?
I think it's a YouTube channel.
So
me too.
Kevin Pereira tried to recreate the magic of Attack of the Show on Twitch with something called The Attack, right? And he's actually at Attack on Twitter. He actually got busted for trying to use like follower bots or something like that to try and like boost the view count and have stand a chance to get on the front page, and ended up getting the whole thing taken down.
Burn.
Yeah, and then I know also in light of some of the recent outcry is the wrong word. The recent upcoming of some of the Me Too stuff. Well, he wasn't explicitly called out as a perpetrator. He was complicit in a lot of some behind the scenes Ubisoft-like stuff. Where just tried to get both sides of the scenario and whatnot, instead of nipping bad things in the butt. But so I don't know exactly what his involvement will be, but then you have other people like Chris Hardwick, who was taken down by his ex in a Me Too like fashion, rightly so. But yeah.
One thing I remember fondly from the old G4 is it was really the first time I remember seeing women interested in video games, from Olivia Munn, Morgan Webb, Allison Hayslip, Marissa Roberto, who worked with Victor Lucas on Reviews on the Run, now does the digital sports center for TSN on Instagram and is doing amazing things. And I can see this as a good opportunity for Comcast to use it as a platform to promote lesser known voices in the industry, which would be great. So more women, more persons of color like Xavier Woods making his push to be involved in some fashion. I think that'd be great.
So if I'm not mistaken, I think Comcast owns two esports teams. They own over
the guy. Sorry. Yeah, the delay is getting to us. The guy who's running G4 as it comes back is the president of the Overwatch League's Philadelphia Fusion, I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely involved in esports. So that would be a good avenue to bring more esports content to whatever platform G4 ends up settling on.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm sure all the people who watch ESPN are fed up with having video games on their sports channel too. So having a place for that, maybe, I don't know.
So it was probably good when there wasn't sports to watch. Just saying.
That's true.
So it looks like it's going to give us like potentially a spot for esports to be. We talked about where it makes sense. And I think we all pretty much agree that like a Twitch/YouTube type setup for it, with maybe stuff going on to Peacock after it airs, is probably kind of the right setup for it. Now, with this type of show, you would all pre-produce it and then have it just debut at certain times?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be...
That came out really weird, but yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, you do have... it's not like the most overly produced things, but you do have stuff like Kind of Funny that does do live content, you know, when they could be in a studio. And I think you could potentially do it live. And like, they'll have like a more of a budget behind it compared to Kind of Funny. Though Kind of Funny is pretty successful, you know, they're still
Comcast money.
Yeah, they don't have Comcast money. So it's like, I think you could like do something really interesting live, or I feel like you could swing it either way and be justified in whatever decision.
Does X-Play come back as basically Kind of Funny Games Daily, but with like a more professional cuts and breaks, and like, and here's our review of this, and then they cut to a video, and then they come back and everybody's like on their mark, ready to go, and it's just a little more tightened up and stuff and that? Or do they try and do something different? I don't know.
I'd like it if they tried to do something a little bit more professional. I feel like there's kind of a dearth of content right now in the gamosphere that is of that nature, IMO, unless you guys have anything that else comes to mind. And I feel like, you know, if they can really pull this off, the rising tide will raise all boats. It will set a new kind of quality of standard for what video game content can be on the internet. And even if, you know, other shows can't be pre-recorded and pre-edited like they are, I think you'll definitely see other content creators follow in their example. And, you know, who knows, maybe across the industry, the quality of what we're producing will improve everywhere.
So
I hate I hate to be just so negative about it, but I really feel like they're gonna just kind of be copycatting everything that they've been seeing. Like, that's what this kind of feels like. This feels very just kind of like corporate
nostalgia down your throat kind of.
Yeah, they're taking a name that everyone people in the gaming community recognize, and just Frankenstein magicking it back to life to try to be like me too. And that's the vibes that I'm getting from this. I know we literally don't know anything. We've only seen one sort of like pre-rendered trailer thing for it, but I don't have faith in this.
The bigger question is, who do we have to reach out to get the 8:00 Wednesday night spot on this new G4?
All right, here we go.
Grade A content that would be great for anyone who's out there trying to consume this new G4.
I was going to say
we should tweet at them.
Bring on Press YYZ. Also bring on gamers. I'll register under 2 different names. I'll be Cozy Bear on this show, and I'll be Alexander Casino on gamers. I'll get 2 salaries. It'll be great.
I hate to break it to you guys, but I think I've burned all the bridges with them.
By the way, this is Alex's last podcast.
Yeah, it was nice being on. You know, nice being back for one more.
Seriously, content like this, weekly content would work for them. Live content could work. Reviews content, there's not necessarily a space for it because there's a lot of content already out there. But happy to see someone else try.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I have found myself like recently, even before this, you know, announcement, just stumbling across like on YouTube, you can find full episodes of like past episodes of X-Play and Attack of the Show, and like the really old ones too. And it's like there's something comforting. It's very good comfort food to just. It's very good background noise, and it's you know, it's hard to express the nostalgia that I feel for it. It's very comforting.
So I think it's really interesting. I'm more curious too what the personalities will look like. Like if they don't get back their old personalities, which let's be honest, a lot of them have moved on and may do cameo appearances, but may not want to commit to that
full time.
Yeah, full time. Obviously, they'll want to bring in some new blood and try and bring some lesser known voices, but they're going to want to bring some bit heavier hitters too. And I think Xavier Woods is probably one of those people that they'll want to bring on. But who are other people, like one person in the industry who you think could be a good fit?
Greg Miller.
Yeah.
He has to show up for one episode and he has to be clean shaven.
Yeah, this could be like their opportunity to not get some one personality to be permanent, but really try to because they could really leverage the fact that like there are so many different outlets that have, you know, well-known personalities that they could just kind of try to reach out and try to pull everyone in and just kind of interchange them and like do like guest appearances for so many different people.
Mhm.
And that's honestly what I'm thinking that they're going to do is they'll probably have like a personality. It might even be somebody who's like is maybe small but like is known, and then kind of like level them up and then kind of get like a rotating guest appearances.
Yeah, I mean, you could start with the heavy hitters like a Greg Miller or
an Andrea Renee.
Renee, Jeff Gersman from Giant Bomb. He actually, so X-Play actually used to be called ZDTV, and then or that was G4 in general or Tech TV in general. But eventually, like X-Play was like GameSpot TV, and so he worked at GameSpot at the time, and then it eventually got sold and whatever split off and became Extended Play and then condensed to X-Play. It was a whole thing. Yeah. Oh God, Gamer Adam in the chat just said Dr. Disrespect.
No, he shouldn't be doing content anywhere. My pick to try to revive some of this stuff, and I've said this multiple times on the show because I think she's doing great work right now, and that is Marissa Roberto. I think she would be great in there. She's done a lot of esports hosting. She's doing a great job hosting Digital Sports Center, and I think it brings a level of familiarity, at least for Canadian viewers, as well as professionalism and understanding of that ecosystem. And I think she'd be a great pick. Also,
She was
Canadian.
at EGLX.
She was. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself, but I should have, and I didn't.
Yeah,
not this year.
Yeah,
No,
not this year. I like the idea. I like the general sentiment of like choosing people who are qualified and, you know, worthy of appearing on a scripted, televised, edited thing like G4, but who aren't necessarily the most popular or well-known people in the world, and then you know, slowly building them up, and as Alex said, allowing them to kind of level up over the years. To go back to Greg Miller, he's talked many times about how, you know, when he was brought onto IGN, he was qualified for the job, but he wasn't like this brilliant podcaster. But you know, he was able to slowly level up in a similar fashion, and you know, look at that man now.
Yes.
Look at us now.
Look at us now.
I heard he's taking pictures of shirtless Spider-Man and now shirtless Miles Morales as well.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
Wait a minute, hold on.
Shirtless Miles Morales makes me feel something.
Hold on a second. It's the other Spider-Man's name is Miles Morales?
Well, no, that's just his
Spider-Man
superhero code name.
also.
Oh, okay.
It is also a shirtless Spider-Man of a different variety.
Okay.
So
he's very well endowed.
Yeah.
All right.
Up from that, Nathan.
So I feel like the show's run to a nice girthy size, and it's probably time to put a pin in it, and
don't put a pin in that.
Let it blast off.
Fun fact: when Adam Sessler coined the term G4, the G stood for girthy.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, the more you know.
So we're the G5 then.
I feel like as we get girthier, we'll level up as well. So that would be excellent.
I enjoy continuing to level up with y'all.
Oh, so me too.
We should really try and get Victor Lucas on the show.
I would absolutely kill to have him on this show.
I've got a picture with him. Maybe I can share that picture and say, hey, want to be on our podcast?
My only interaction with him was, holy shit, you're Victor Lucas. So,
yeah.
So maybe you can sit that episode out.
Probably good call. Good call. I'd rather enjoy it as a fan.
So, but anyways, let's wrap everything up because I think we've come up with some good ideas on how to fix G4, and now they just need to employ us and give us the Wednesday night slot at 8 o'clock. So
yeah, Wednesday's
like
8
a fair
EST.
deal.
I think
seems like a fair deal.
Blair,
so
you got my number, right? Just call. We'll talk.
Come on, we can do it. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me at blatantly Alex on Twitter, blatantly_Alex on Twitter, blatantly Alex on Instagram. I forgot my handles. Blatantly Alex on Twitter is taken. It's suspended. And I'm very sad about that. YouTube, blatantly Alex. It's kind of, you know, you put those two words together in some form, you'll find me.
All right. Cozy?
You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Kazina. You can also find me on Twitch at Cozy Bear. Sorry, not at Cozy Bear Live, but twitch.tv/Cozy Bear Live. Tonight, however, I'm actually not going to be streaming anything from it. And the reason being that I'm currently hard at work on a new video game in Core. This is my follow-up to Planet of the Toilet Toads, which you might remember from a couple of months ago. But this is going to be much different in tone and scope. So look forward to hearing more about that in the future.
Have you considered streaming some of your builds at some point? Like actually,
as you make them.
The thing is that the scope of what I'm currently making it's kind of small. So like I could stream what I'm currently doing, but there wouldn't be much to show. And then it'd be like, all right, I showed what I need to show. It's back to working on it. So maybe as I, improve as a creator in the future, I'll start streaming just me making the games. But I wasn't really up to it tonight.
All right. AJ?
Fair. Yeah, you can find me all over the internet at Times Hero, capital T, capital H. That's Twitter, Instagram, wherever you put that in, it'll probably show up.
Mitch, I had heard rumors that you're planning on changing your handles to the girthy one. Is there anything correct about that?
That is 100% false. You can find me everywhere at Mr. Mitch George. And right now I have a tweet out, which will no longer be a poll by the time this goes up, about if you put ketchup on your mac and cheese. It is probably the most engaged with tweet I've ever put out. And I'm on the wrong side of history, and it sucks. You are all wrong.
At least you admit it.
Oh, I love the fact that you're wrong, because you are so wrong.
No, ketchup
belongs on mac and cheese. Sorry, only boxed mac and cheese.
You're working on a review right now too?
Yeah, I got one going now. I finished another one. I didn't talk about the game. That should go up shortly, and I'm working on one right now.
Okay, so we'll have more to talk about.
PS4blog.net.
So we'll have more to talk next week about that. And finally, I'm going to wrap up and say goodbye to y'all. You can follow me at _MMac at Twitter, and check out my stuff on PS4blog.net as well, where my Carrion and Destroy All Humans reviews have gone live, as well as I'll have a review for Demon's Tilt, a new pinball game coming soon, and I'll talk about that next week on the show. I started playing it right before the show. So everybody have a great night, and thanks for playing.